Alright. Damage testing. Use our boy Gale here. And let's get it going and see how much damage we can do.
Sort of fight.
Okay, here we go. Let me go ahead and just skip to Gale's turn. Okay. Let's start hitting stuff, I guess. Boom. Divine Smite. Okay. Just one down. Okay. Divine Smite. Just two down. Okay. Divine Smite. Just three down. Let's attack some more. I'm almost out of Divine Smites already. That's 4 down though. That's pretty good. Can I head up here? Do I have enough movement for that? No, I guess we're gonna attack Big Dog over here. Alright, let's go. Running out of Divine Smites though. We still got an Action Surge, which is 3 more attacks. And we have a bonus attack from Great Weapon Master. Okay, we keep going. Okay. Okay. I'm pretty sure I still have more attacks, man. I still have a bonus action attack, right? Yeah, we do. I ain't got no more movement though, but that's pretty good. Let's see, we attacked. Okay, for 4 actions, that means I attacked 3 times per action, so that's 12. And then the bonus action attack. So it's just like my my Titan sniper build. I can attack pretty much 13 times in one turn. Sick. What's going on with y'all, man? It's your boy AoE back at you again with another video build guide for Baldur's Gate 3, and this time I'm going to show you guys my version of what I think is to be one of the best melee builds in the game. Now for me, I definitely favor ranged builds because when it comes to RPG games in general, it's just better to be ranged because you can keep your distance. You can control the battlefield better. You know, you ain't got to be all up in their shit, right? And get hit with all the spells. So for me, range is mostly better most of the time. But this build, as you saw, can cover a lot of ground and it does a lot of damage while being semi-tanky as well, okay? And the great thing about this build is it's pretty strong throughout the whole game, you know? And I'm going to show you how we're going to level it, when we respec. I'm going to show you the items, the progression of everything, and then I'm going to do a little tutorial at the end on, you know, how to play it, what kind of buffs you could use, what kind of elixirs, potions, all that kind of stuff. So, and without further ado, I present to y'all the Holy Warrior. Alright, so obviously, as you just saw, this is a mixture of Paladin, Warlock, and Fighter. Okay? But if you're playing this build, you know, fresh on a new game, I would actually recommend not starting any of those, because the best starting melee class is, in my opinion, Barbarian, and I'll explain why as I level up with Barbarian. So of course, level 1 we are doing Barbarian. What do we get? We get Rage, classic, okay, and unarmored defense, sure, pretty good. And for the starting ability scores, I would do 16 strength, assuming you're not using the hag here, okay? 16 strength, because strength is going to be our main damage stat. 14 dex. I like having 14 dex on basically all my characters just for that +2 initiative bonus and possible +2 AC. That's just me, okay? And of course, the second most important stat, Constitution. We are melee builds, so we got to make sure our Constitution is at least 16 because we're going to be up in there, all up in their face, taking all the damage, okay? And as far as your fort stat, just pick one. I pick Wisdom just because of Perception and Survival, which are in this game you make quite a few checks of those, so that's what I picked. But of course, Athletics is your most important for shoving or for not getting shoved, all that type of stuff. So that's level 1 as a Barbarian. At level 2, we're sticking with Barbarian, and we get Danger Sense, which is Sure, it's okay. But more importantly, we get Reckless Attack. Again, one of the other reasons why Barbarian's one of the best starting melee classes. Reckless Attack, having advantage on all your attack rolls, while having enemies have advantage against you, which is fine because when you rage, you take half damage from physical sources anyway, right? So that's level 2 as Barbarian. Level 3 as a Barbarian, we get an additional rage charge, and the subclass that we're going to pick is Wild Heart. I don't know why I was clicked on Berserker. You can go Berserker if you want, but I like going Wild Heart because, like I said, we're going to be all up in their face, right? And you're most likely going to be the only melee person in the group, so you got to make sure you can tank a bunch of damage. And Wild Heart, if you bear the Beast Heart, that means not only are you resistant to physical damage from regular rage, now you're resistant to everything except for psychic. So if you got some fire users in your group, if you get hit with some elemental spells, you should be all good. And of course it comes with a heal, and the bear piercings looks pretty cool as well. So that's level 3 as a Barbarian. We go Wild Heart, Bear Heart. At level 4 as a Barbarian, we get our feat, and of course the feat that you probably expected that we take with this build is Great Weapon Master. What this does is when you land a crit with a melee attack, you can make another attack as a bonus action. Pretty damn good. And because we're attacking so many times in one turn, you're probably going to land at least one crit if you have advantage in your attacks. You know what I'm saying? So we're really good there. And of course, you have a -5 to your attack rolls as a Great Weapon Master, but you get a +10 to your damage if it hits. Okay, and because we have Reckless Attack, you're most likely going to be hitting even with the -5 to your attack rolls. Okay, normally I wouldn't suggest getting something like Great Weapon Master or Sharpshooter this early in the game, but because we are a Barbarian and we have Reckless Attack, we can afford to go an early GWM for our feat. And at level 5, we are doing one more level of Barbarian to, of course, get the super good extra attack. So now you can attack twice per turn, and if someone hates you, now you're attacking 4 times per turn. And if you crit on one of those hits, now you're attacking 5 times because of Great Weapon Master. Not bad. Possible 5 times to attack a turn at level 5. That's pretty sweet, man. That's pretty sweet. And of course, you get movement speed while not wearing heavy armor, and you're probably going to be wearing, I would suggest wearing medium armor with this build because I normally put my heavy armor on my healer, because if the healer goes down, it's all over. You know what I'm saying? So I would suggest wearing medium armor with this build. All right, at level 6, we are leaving Barbarian. We are no longer dipping any levels into Barbarian anymore in this build. We are now going to multi-class into Paladin, and our Holy Warrior journey begins. We get Paladin. Not really get anything at the first level, where we get some lay on hands. Now you can be like the off healer. Not only are you the off tank, but you're also the off healer in the group. You know what I'm saying? The secondary support with lay on hands and a few of the paladin support spells that we're gonna take. Okay, you get divine sense, which you get advantage on attack rolls against celestials, fields, and undead. Not bad, and it's also a bonus action, so that's pretty nice too. And there are a lot of undead in this game, so that can be pretty useful. And you get Holy Rebuke, grants an ally a vengeful aura that deals 1 to 4 radiant damage to anyone who hits them with a melee attack. You can use this, and of course, you're probably going to use this on yourself because you are a melee person and are going to get hit no matter what. Okay. And as far as the subclass that we're going to choose, you can Vengeance is good too. I like Devotion, not because of what we get, not because of Holy Rebuke or of the tenets. It's more so of what we get later on as a Devotion Paladin, which I'll go over as soon as we get to that level. But yeah, at level 6, we multi-class out of Barbarian into 1 level of Paladin, and we want to go with the Devotion. At level 7, we are taking another level into Paladin, becoming a level 2 Paladin, and of course, the most important reason why we are dipping into Paladin in the first place for this melee build at all is, of course, the Divine Smites. Every time you land a hit, you can choose to add Divine Smite on top of it, which is pretty much an extra 2d8 worth of damage. And of course, this is only first level. The higher level you cast Divine Smite, the more damage it does. Okay, and because the Warlock levels we'll be taking later, we'll be having even more spell slots that refresh off of short rest even. So, yeah. Divine Smites, basically adding double damage to whatever you're doing. It's really, really good. It's what the build is built around of. Okay, as far as the fighting style, I chose defense because again, this is my only melee character in my campaign, so I want to make sure it doesn't die. Even though it has bear heart, it's still, you know, it's still melee. It gets hit by a lot of things, so I chose defense. But if you want to go straight up all damage, then you can just go great weapon fighting. But eventually, by the end of this build, we're gonna have both these anyway. But your choice. What do you take first here? And as far as the spells that I chose Divine Favor. Divine Favor is most likely the concentration spell you're going to be concentrating on for this build, and it also costs a bonus action, so it's not bad. Okay. At level 8, we are still sticking with Paladin, and we get Divine Health. The divine magic flowing within you prevents disease from affecting you, so your character can no longer be diseased, which is fine. It doesn't really matter in this game, to be honest, but it's okay. But more importantly, we get, and the reason why we go Devotion, is we get Sacred Weapon. Turn your weapon into a sacred weapon. It has a higher chance of hitting, and it emits a bright light. But yeah, it adds your Charisma modifier to its attack rolls. And it's basically a permanent light, which is really, really good. This means with Great Weapon Master feat, this means with Reckless Attack, we pretty much never miss an attack. But then again, this doesn't really apply till later, because of course we're still relying on strength. But for later, when we respec into charisma, this will matter a lot. Okay, and of course, another great thing about Sacred Weapon is it's not a concentration. It only costs an action and a Channel Oath charge. Okay, and it lasts 10 turns, which is pretty much every single battle in this game. Okay, so that's why we take Devotion, because of Sacred Weapon. And as far as the spells go, like I said, this is your off tank. You can choose to go another Smite. You're probably just using Divine Smite anyway. So because this is my off tank for my build, my off support, I chose Cure Wounds just for some extra heal for the party. At level 9, we are still sticking with Paladin because we get a feat. And the feat that I chose, we already have Great Weapon Master, right? So I just chose Strength just to boost our damage rolls and our attack rolls even higher, okay? And just to make the character a little stronger. And as far as prepared spells go, I just went with another Smite just to have another option. But now here's where we respec. Once you reach level 10 is where you're going to switch everything. And this is what I would do. The reason why we go Barbarian, let me go and reiterate. The reason why we stick with Barbarian this long is because it's just better, right? It's tankier, and it comes with Reckless Attack, all right? But now that you're level 10, we can take advantage of something that the Warlocks have at level 5 as a Pact Blade Warlock that the other subclasses or classes don't have. So let me go and show that. Alright, so real quick, I'm going to show you how to respec the first 5 levels as a Paladin, then we're going to go through the next 5 levels as a Warlock, because now, by this point in the game, you should be level 10, ready to respec, and this is how I would handle the respec, okay? First, level 1 Paladin, Oath of Devotion, same stuff, but for the abilities, we're going to change. Now for me, I use the Hag Hair, so I went 17 charisma because I have the Hag Hair, but if you don't, then you could just do that. You could just do 16 charisma and then do that or whatever. But for me, I had the Hag Hair, and I normally use the Hag Hair for my charisma characters because charisma is a really good stat in this game. All right, not only for damage wise, but for dialogue options. So yeah, I normally use the Hag Hair for charisma characters, but it's up to you. But for me, again, I put charisma at 17 for the Hag Hair, and of course Constitution at 16. We're still a melee character, so we need some HP. 14 dex, plus 2 AC, plus 2 initiative rolls. You know how it is. And we can pretty much dump strength because of Warlocked Pact Weapon, we don't need strength anymore. Alright? I just put a plus 2 into strength just because it felt a little wrong to have a -1 into strength for a melee character. So I just bumped it to 10. Just to even out my athletics, but it really doesn't matter. You can dump strength all it is. What really matters is your charisma needs to be high, and your constitution needs to be high, and for your dex need to be at a sweet 14. Alright, level 2 as a Paladin. Again, we get our Divine Smites back. I stick with defense. You can pick defense or GWF, I mean. It's up to you. We're going to get both at the end of the build anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But for me, defense is really important. And for the prepared spells, I just chose all the other smites because It gives us options, but most likely you're gonna be concentrating on this anyway, Divine Favor, and you're gonna be using Divine Smite anyway, so these don't actually matter. But I just wanted options just because, and it kind of fits the theme of the build as a holy warrior, having all kinds of smites. You know what I'm saying? So, and of course, Cure Wounds, because again, you are the secondary healer. Level 3 Paladin, Sacred Weapon, super duper good. Use this every single time you fight. It's just really good. Having a better chance to hit is always nice. And for the other spell I just chose Command because it was not a concentration spell, and it can be clutch, basically canceling an enemy's turn. But like I said, most likely with this build, you're going to be hitting their face with an axe, a super special axe, by the way, that I'm going to show you all at the end of the video for the items. But yeah, you're going to be attacking, Divine Smiting, attacking, and Divine Smiting most of the time. Alright, level 4 Paladin, we get a feat, and I went +2 Charisma, and because I have the Hag here with Charisma, my Charisma is now 20, super good. And of course, when we get to our Warlock levels, we will take our Great Weapon Master again. And for the prepared spells, I just chose Compelled Duel because again, it fit the build thematically, but we're probably not going to use this anyway. Alright, level 5 Paladin, our last level into Paladin before we multi-class into a Warlock. Of course, we get the extra attack, we get some more spell slots for our Divine Smites, and we get some pretty cool stuff too. We get another Smite option. Just go ahead and add it on. Now we have a bunch of Smite options. Again, you're probably going to be Divine Smiting anyway, but you know, it's nice to have options. But you also get Magic Weapon, which is not a bad thing to concentrate on. You can make the choice whether to concentrate on Magic Weapon or to concentrate on Divine Favor. It's up to you. Both are good, both are solid. Divine Favor does more damage, but this is more consistent with your Great Weapon Master, right? So it's up to you. But yeah, that is our last level into Paladin. It is now time to multi-class into Warlock. Alright, level 6, our first dip into Warlock. The cantrips, Eldritch Blast, it's just nice to have, and because we are charisma based, Eldritch Blast will actually do a bit of damage. If you need, for some reason, if you need to do some range damage, Eldritch Blast is super handy. And of course at level 10, no matter how many levels into Warlock that you have, Eldritch Blast will always fire 3 times. Okay, so I picked that, and I picked Friends. Having an advantage on charisma checks during dialogue is just super good. And this might be your dialogue talker. This might be your talker in your game, your charisma based user. So just have Friends ready and available. It's super good for dialogue. As far as the subclass doesn't really matter because the benefits for all 3 of these, they kind of only pop off at level 6. So for me, I just chose the Fiend. For every time you kill something, you get 5 temporary hit points, which is really nice for a melee build because we are no longer a bare-hearted barbarian, right? So we're actually a little squishier than that. So this helps not being as super squishy. You can also go with this one. This is a more offensive option, the Great Old One, because every time you crit, you can possibly frighten the creature, and because your spellcasting modifier is so high, they're probably going to be frightened. This is the more offensive option. This is pretty good too, but for me, I chose the Fiend because I don't want to die. You know what I'm saying? And as far as the spells go, again, these spells or the Paladin spells aren't that important, to be honest, because you're gonna be using your spell slots for Divine Smites. But if I were to choose a few spells, I would choose Hex, because Hex is nice. You do a little bit of extra damage on a creature, sure, why not? If it's a creature with high HP, hexing them is probably not a bad idea. And of course, you can hex them with Wisdom, because most spells are Wisdom based, so that's pretty nice too. And Hellish Rebuke for the reaction. But then again, like I said, you want to use your spell slots for Divine Smites for the most part, okay? Alright, level 7, we are a level 2 Warlock. The spells that I chose is Armor of Agathis. Armor of Agathis, Hellish Rebuke, and Hex are just like the trifecta of the first level Warlock spells, so I just picked those, you know what I'm saying? And for the Eldritch Invocations, I would choose Agonizing Blast to add a little bit of extra damage to your Eldritch Blast whenever you need to. You're not always going to be in melee range, so it's just nice to have, you know, and because our charisma is so damn high, this actually does pretty decent damage with 3 beams of Eldritch Blast. And then the second one that I would choose is, it's up to you. I would choose either Devil's Sight or Repelling Blast. Repelling Blast is obviously really good with Eldritch Blast. You can push things if you hit, and if all 3 Eldritch Blasts hit, you push them really, really far. You're probably knocking them off a damn cliff. But for me, I like Devil Sight because Devil Sight, the classic D&D broken combo that many DMs don't allow, Devil Sight plus Darkness combo, but because this is Baldur's Gate 3 and we're fighting against code, we're not fighting against actual people, Devil Sight / Darkness is super fucking good. In fact, I was able to beat Baldur's Gate 3 on Tactician with one character using the Devil Sight Darkness combo, and it was pretty easy, to be honest. There was the only hard part of the game was the first 3 levels, but as soon as I got the Devil Sight Darkness combo, the game kind of the game trivialized itself, because for some reason I don't know what it is about darkness or fog cloud or blindness or whatever, but NPCs don't fucking know how to react to that shit. They're just dumb. Including your NPCs too, so watch out. But yeah, I would choose Devil Sight because I love the interaction between Darkness and Devil Sight. It's comical, really. Okay. All right, level 8, we are a level 3 Warlock, and of course we get our Pact Boon, and the Pact Boon that we choose is none other than Pact of the Blade. This means any weapon, most weapons require strength or dexterity to scale their damage and their attack rolls, but Pact of the Blade makes it so it now uses our charisma, which is why we can dump strength and not have to worry about strength, because our weapon now uses charisma for its attack rolls and its damage. Super duper good. Okay, but again, I should probably explain this. The reason why we go Barbarian early is because Barbarian is just better. It's just tankier. It just does more damage, and it's not gonna die. The problem with starting off as a Warlock is that you're super squishy, and Pact of the Blade is not so good early game. Even with the Darkness Devil Sight combo, being a reckless attacking bare-hearted Barbarian early, it just felt much better to me. And trust me, I've played this game from start to finish in Tactician mode at least 5 times. So, I have a little bit of experience in knowing what's good to level with and what isn't. All right, and Barbarian just feels better. But at this point in the game, at level 10, level 5 Pally and level 5 Warlock is 100% better, and I'm gonna explain why as soon as we level up our class more. Okay. As far as the spell, Darkness. Again, we have Devil Sight. Now we have Darkness. You pretty much can go in the middle of 100 enemies. You can cast Darkness on yourself and start hacking away. And unless they have Devil Sight too, which not many creatures have it, it's pretty much your domain. They can't fuck with you in the darkness. That's why Devil Sight is so OP. If you haven't tried it, I recommend try it. But careful, it's more of a solo thing. If you're doing it, I wouldn't suggest it in a party, because you can fuck over your teammates as well. But if you're trying to beat the game solo with one character, Darkness Devil Sight is the way to go. Trust. Or also Stealth Invis, but that's kind of harder to get going. But anyway, that's for another day. That's for another build guide. For this one, the spell that we take as a level 3 Warlock is 100% Darkness for the Devil Sight combo. Okay, level 9, level 4 Warlock. Cantrip that I chose, Mage Hand, just cause I liked to use Mage Hand to push my allies when I was bored. That's pretty much all I used it for. Okay, cool. As far as the spell that I chose, Misty Step. You kind of need Misty Step as a melee build. We're gonna have Misty Step on a couple of our items going into this build as well, because again, it's hard to cover as much ground as a ranged character as a melee build. But like I said, we have things to supplement that, and one of those things is Misty Step. Okay. And of course, as a level 4 Warlock, we get our feat, and now we have GWM back into our arsenal. -5, +10, super duper good. And again, if you have the hag hair, you should have 20 charisma, and you should be all good. And if you don't have 20 charisma at this point in the game, there are other ways to get you to 20 charisma without using ability score improvements. So don't worry on that. I'll explain that later. Okay, we are level 10. And we are now a level 5 Paladin and a level 5 Warlock. So when you're a level 5 Paladin, like other martial classes, you get an extra attack. And when you're a level 5 Warlock, you also get an extra attack. But it's not called extra attack. It's called Deepen Pact extra attack. Which basically means, because the wording is different, this is what I believe, that because the wording is different, this stacks on top of your extra attack from Paladin. So it's kind of like we're a level 11 fighter with a -1 level and dip into 2 multi-classes. It's kind of better, okay? And that's why we are doing Pally and Warlock. And the last 2 levels, it's up to you. Level 6 Paladin and level 6 Warlock, you get some really good stuff. Like you get Aura of Protection from Paladin, and you get your level 6 subclass feature from Warlock, okay? But for the last 2 levels, you guys probably know where I'm going with this. I wanted to attack as much as possible, and that requires a lot of actions, so you probably know where it's going. But yes, the reason why we get a level 5 Warlock is for the Deep Impact extra attack. It stacks with the Paladin one, and now we're attacking 3 times for 1 action, going crazy with our Divine Smites, going crazy with our Warlock spells. Speaking of spells, the level 5, level 3 Warlock spell that I would choose is Hunger of Hadar. If you haven't used Hunger of Hadar before, you're missing out. It's one of the best, if not the best, control spell in the game because it covers a wide area. It does 2 types of damage, so it's hybrid, okay? It blinds enemies, and it creates difficult terrain. It does all that. All right. Yes, it does cost a spell slot, which you're not going to be using for Divine Smite. But if there's 100 enemies, casting Hunger of Hadar on them, you can go inside Hunger of Hadar too, because you have Devil Sight. You should be okay, but you're gonna be taking that damage as well. So be careful on that. The Darkness Devil Sight combo is still stronger in that sense, but if you need to control a battlefield, there's too many on you. Hunger of Hadar, they're dead. And because we are taking Eldritch Blast, and by this level we're going to have Repelling Blast and Agonizing Blast, you can keep Eldritch Blasting them inside the Hunger of Hadar. It's actually kind of hilarious. Again, that's how I was able to beat the game with 1 character, because Devil Sight plus Darkness or plus Hunger of Hadar plus Eldritch Blast, it was fucking easy. It trivialized the whole game. Again, if you haven't tried it, I recommend it. It's super cool. But yes, and now for our last 2 levels, we will be going into Fighter. Alright, level 11, our first dip into Fighter. And like I said, we're going to have great weapon fighting eventually, and you get it from Fighter. So now we have defense, and now we have GWF. Super duper good for this build. And now we do just a little bit more damage, which is always kind of nice. And of course, at level 12, the last level of the build, we get our last level into Fighter to get that super sweet action surge. And like I said, because every action we do 3 attacks: 1 normal attack, 1 extra attack from the Paladin, and 1 deep impact attack from the Warlock. So now on average we're attacking 6 times, plus haste 9 times, plus elixir of bloodlust 12 times, plus bonus action attack 13 times. And to attack 13 times in a turn is not even that hard. Okay, because all you need to do is have another team member cast haste on you, drink elixir of bloodlust, and crit on one of those 12 attacks, which is probably going to happen anyway, okay, because of our sacred weapon and because of our so many ways to increase our attack rolls. So now I guess I'm going to show you guys, what buffs to use, what elixirs to use, and how to set up for the build to do as much damage as possible. Just kidding, I forgot that I didn't show the items yet. My bad. Also, I think I'm going to do a little bit differently. I think I'm going to show the weapon first, because that's probably most desired, right? And then I'll show the rest of the equipment, okay? So first, I'm going to show the weapon. First of all, I'm going to show each item, okay? A brief description on why I use it, a brief description on where to get it, and then we're going to move on from there, okay? So first, the weapon that I chose is the Hellbeard Halberd. And the reason why I chose this is because you're going to ignore the +2 acid and the +1d6 fire, because that's from my items. But the +6 poison is from this weapon. Okay, it comes with a flat +6 to your damage on all your attacks. That's more than half of Great Weapon Master on each and every single one of your attacks. And there are not that many things that are resistant to poison in this game. So yeah, this is I would say this is one of the best weapons for this build. Obviously you can use the Baldur's Giant Slayer, that's good too. That'll do. But for me, for the most damage output possible, and it comes with extra reach too, which is nice. You can cover more ground. I chose this weapon. It's really, really good, and it's also easily missable. You can find this off of Hellsick, the NPC that I was fighting in the beginning of the video. Okay, once she starts telling you the good stuff, this is one of those good stuff. The Hellbeard Halberd, +6 poison on top of the 1d10, whatever you're doing, right? First of all, let me go and packed weapon this, so the damage looks horrible. Okay, now you packed weaponed it. Now it's looking good. Okay, very good. So yeah, but again, you can use Barbarian Giant Slayer. You can use another, a really good early option if you want to use it is the Unseen Menace. For some reason, I haven't seen too many builds use the Unseen Menace. This is one of the better items in the game. It's because this weapon is invisible while equipped. And what does that mean? That means it can be disarmed. It has advantage on all attack rolls, and it scores a critical hit rolling a 19. So if you want to go, Paladin Warlock early and say fuck the reckless attack from the Barbarian, you can get this at like level 5. Really, really early. Okay? So I recommend this as an early weapon. Well, another early option you could choose is the Everburn Sword. Do I still have that? I'm pretty sure I sold that. But you can use the Everburn Sword as your first melee weapon at the Nautiloid, first part of the game. Just use Shadowheart, command drop on the commander guy. He drops the fire sword. You can use that until you get a +1 great axe. That's probably going to be your best next melee weapon. Then you could use one of those Githyanki swords, if you're a Githyanki, sure. Otherwise, there are a bunch of halberds in the game, like this one, Halberds of Vigilance. There's so many good two-handed melee options. It's really up to you. There's also a hammer. Again, if you choose to go Warlock packed earlier, this is the best one that you're going to have until you get this halberd. Charge Bound Warhammer, one of the better weapons for a packed weapon or Eldritch Knight user. This is solid too. Okay, there's a lot of options, but for the weapon that I chose for the end game, Hellbeard Halberd, super duper good, and you can get it at Hellsick. She sells it. All right. And for the range weapon, this is my go-to stat stick because it grants resistance to fire damage and cold damage, and it comes with haste. Again, we're probably not going to be concentrating on haste. We're probably going to be concentrating on a more damage spell, but having resistance to two elements as a melee especially is really nice. Okay, all right, let's go over the freaking armors. Okay, for the helmet, there's a lot of choices here. I chose Diadem of Arcane Synergy because this basically adds. Okay, so what Arcane Synergy does, your weapon attacks deal additional damage equal to your spellcasting modifier, and because my charisma is so damn high, you can get charisma from Hag Hair, from Mirror of Loss, or you can use Birthright. So I can have 24 charisma if I want to, but I chose to use Diadem because Diadem basically adds another 5 or 6 depending on your charisma when you inflict a condition. And just so you know, inflicting a condition is really fucking easy in this game. Okay, you're pretty much every time you cast a spell or every time you deal some type of elemental damage, you're inflicting a condition. It's really there's a ton of conditions. It's really, really easy. So you're pretty much having this on all the time, and this gives you a plus, at least, because you should have at least 20 charisma, at least a +5 to your attack. Okay, with this helmet. This is also a go-to helmet for ranger builds, and of course you can get this pretty early in the game. You can get this at the creche, at the Inquisitor's room once you fight them, and I think the main guy is wearing this helmet. As far as early in the game, that's pretty early in the game. That's like beginning of Act 2, end of Act 1 type shit. So you can get that super duper early. So yeah, I would just recommend sticking with this the whole damn time. It's just really good. Adding a +5 to your damage is hard to find on items, and that's the idea. Stacking as much damage as possible. Okay. As far as the cloak goes, I mean, I'm pretty sure I've had Cloak of Protection for all my builds so far. It's just so good. And especially because we're a melee build, we're always up in the shit. So we need as much AC as possible. We need as much saving throws as possible. And this gives both of those. So I would do this. Other options, Sure, displacement. Sure, why not? If you want to go the crit option, you can also do the disengage one, or you can do this one. This one, whenever a creature deals damage to you, they take 1 to 4 acid damage. Because you are melee, this will probably proc a lot. So if you want to just focus purely on damage or thorns, boom, you can do that. But for me, Cloak of Protection is just too hard to pass up. Okay. As far as the armor, so again, I think you should. I think for you, or for me, I should say, I like to have. I made this person my medium armor user. Okay, so every time I play through this game, what I do is I like to assign a heavy armor user, a medium armor user, a light armor user, and a clothing user. Just because, you know, no one's greedy for items, and I can split my good equipments fairly easily with the group. Okay, so for my playthrough, I made this person the medium armor user, so that's why I'm having them wear the adamantine scale mail. Okay, but of course, and this can be obtained super early too. I like for my builds for you guys, you could probably notice I like showing you guys early items that you can get. Okay, because not everyone can get to Act 3, or not everyone has the patience to get to Act 3. It took me like 40 hours to get to Act 3 first playthrough. God damn. Okay, so I like to show you guys early items that you can use for the builds and to activate them early. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm showing this one, and of course you can get this at the Adamantine Forge. For the Adamantine Forge, I'd recommend looking for the splint mold and the scale mold, because that is the heavy armor and that is the medium armor, what I'm wearing right now. And I think those are the best items from the Adamantine Forge. You can also find the shield mold. I recently found out that they have a shield too, but the shield, while it is good, it's still not, for me, it's still not as good as the armor pieces. Okay, but yeah, you can get this from the Adamantine Forge. But the best option, like for any other build, the absolute best option is probably going to be Helldusk armor. It's really hard to pass up. You do not need to be proficient in it. It gives you fly, you can't be burned, and it gives you an even more resistance to fire damage, and you take 3 damage from less. This is the best armor in the game. Okay, but of course I'm not showing this armor because realistically, you know, we're sitting right here, and this is totally fine. You could beat the game with Act 1 stuff. Okay, so with that being said, I hope they add another difficulty to the game. I heard there are mods that make the game harder, but you know, for nerds like me, we need to make the game a little bit harder. So hopefully they had like a fucking nightmare difficulty or some shit. But yeah, just use any medium armor, or the highest medium armor you could find, and you'll be good to go. For the gloves, Helldusk gloves, and before you have the Helldusk gloves, you can use the flawed Helldusk gloves, and you can get these at the Last Light Inn. Okay, and again, the idea here, we're just trying to add more damage to our attacks. You know, we're just trying to add more damage to our attacks. And for me, that was the Helldusk gloves. You can get this one at the Boudoir, I believe. What's his face drops them? Harlip at Raphael's House of Hope, probably the place with the best items in the game in there. Okay. And of course, it comes with a cantrip that you're probably not going to use anyway. But yeah, I just told you for the 1 to 6 extra fire damage, it's pretty clutch. Okay. What are you using early? Again, you can use the Helldusk gloves. You can use there's these melee gloves that give you advantage. Baneful Strike, you can get these super early too. Gloves of Power, you can get those super early too. I'm trying to find the melee gloves that give you... Oh, you can use this too. Legacy of the Masters, +2 attack rolls and damage. Okay. Martial Exertion gives you an extra attack. I don't think it's worth it though, to be honest. Okay, I can't find the melee gloves that I also use, but there are melee gloves that give you advantage if you're surrounded by 2 or more foes, and if you're a melee build, you're probably going to be surrounded by 2 or more foes. So I recommend using that early, and then using these at Act 2, and then switching to these in Act 3. That's pretty much how that's how that item progression would go. Okay. As far as the boots go, classic. This is the go-to boots for every single build. Honestly, these are the boots you get from Nier. And they come with a Misty Step that can be refreshed off of a short rest. Super duper good. You can use them every battle, and it's really important that we have Misty Step for this build, because we don't want to waste a spell slot, because we want to use those spell slots for Divine Smite. So it's nice to have Misty Step on our items so we can catch up to our opponents. Because again, we're a melee build. You know, we want to make sure we're attacking as much as we can, But to attack everything on the field, we're going to need a little bit more than just movement speed. And that's where Misty Step comes into play. So these boots I would use 100% of the time, okay? All right, let's go to the jewelry. Again, Misty Step amulet. This is just for me. This is just insurance for me because I wanted to make sure my melee character can hit and not waste an attack. So I chose to use 2 Misty Step items for my character, so I don't use a spell slot, so I can use my spell slots for Divine Smites, okay? But if you don't want to use this, which you can get super early, by the way, in Act 1, you guys probably know where to get this. Behind, I think it's behind Big Bertha with Priestess Gut. If you don't want to use this, you can use the Amulet of Branding. This is also a go-to for damage builds. And of course, you would when you make an enemy vulnerable. This costs a bonus action, by the way. When you make an enemy vulnerable, they take double damage. So if you're dealing with a high HP character like Raphael, who has 666 HP, you brand them, they're gonna die a lot faster because they're gonna take double damage. But I use Misty Step, and honestly, there's a better Illithid power anyway. It's called Perilous Stakes. Who has it? Did my game just freeze? I'm gonna keep talking while my game. Okay, so there's an Illithid power. It's called Perilous Stakes. Let me show you right here. So what this does is it invests a creature with power that heals when it attacks, but also makes it vulnerable to all damage. Now, if your characters do a lot of fucking damage, you can use this on enemies. Okay, I like to put this on my support character's brain. Okay, you put this on your support characters, they make the enemy vulnerable to all damage, and you just go ham, and it lasts for 3 turns. That's all damage, so it's infinitely better than using Amulet of the Branding. Okay, so yeah, that's why I chose to use the Amulet of Misty Step, because I already had Perilous Stakes. But if you wanted to use Branding, you could if you wanted to. For the rings, Strange Conduit Ring, you're going to be concentrating on most likely Divine Favor to get more damage to your attacks, so that's why that's there. Okay, or you're going to be concentrating on Magic Weapon, your choice, whatever you choose. Both are fine. I like Divine Favor just because it's an extra attack, but it's up to you. And the other ring slot, again, these are interchangeable for sure. I just wanted to do as much damage as possible, so I just chose Caustic Band. It's an extra 2 acid damage, you know, and the reason why stacking damage is really good with this build in the first place is because we're attacking 10 plus times, so that every single item that adds damage is added 10 times if you think about it in a turn. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I went with the theory that I had. Okay. But if you wanted to use other rings, you could use the Ring of Protection. You could use the Ring of Free Action. There's so many choices here, man. So many choices. You can use you could bond with your healer with True Loves. Okay, but for max damage possible, I'd use these bitches. Okay, now that we've gone over the items. Oh, you can get this ring from the Kresh Inquisitor's Room, same place as this helmet, and you can get this ring at the Mycotted Colony Underdark. All right, cool. And you can get this bow at the Last Light Diamond Vendor. All right, cool. Now I'm going to show y'all how to prep before a fight, how to use the build, what buffs to use. Okay, first thing you're going to do is you're going to press K. You're going to make sure all your spells, all the right spells are chosen. You're going to make sure you drag Great Weapon Master to your bar and make sure it's toggled on. Then you're going to go to reactions, and you're going to make sure the Divine Smites are turned on. Okay? This is very important. Otherwise, the game is not going to apply your Divine Smites. This is very important. All right, so press K, Great Weapon Master, and your reactions. Make sure everything's turned on. Okay, cool. Next, we're going to bind our weapon. Because right now, see the damage? It's low damage. When we bind the weapon, damage gets higher. Because now our Charisma up is applied to the damage, okay? Next, we're going to go ahead and turn-based mode. We're going to go ahead and put some buffs on our character. We're going to haste it with this guy. Did I miss or something? I think I missed. I don't know how the fuck that happened. We'll just do it this way. Okay. Alright. Haste. Don't miss this time, please. Very good. Okay. So now we're hasted. We're also going to give him a little bless with our cleric here. We're also going to give a little bit of Crusader Mantle, a really good concentration spell for your support character. Trust. And now we can move to the middle of the room and do our own buffs, which is going to be Divine Favor. Use 1 level spell slot. Okay. Oop. And we're going to use Sacred Weapon. Use the Channel Oath charge. It's worth it. And, yeah, now we're ready to start the fight. We have our buffs going. Also, you want to make sure you drink an elixir of bloodlust. Let's get it going. Let's see what else it got. I'm going to save here just in case I fuck up on the initiative roll. Okay, let's go.
So to fight.
Okay.
Got this.
Let's go ahead and skip to Gale's turn. And let's get it popping, baby. All right, let's. How much damage does our smite do? Look at that. Woo! Look at all those damage numbers, baby. Yeah, let's get it popping. I mean, shit. 80 HP, level 9 imp. Okay, so that was like what, 60 damage? Crazy. And we get some temporary hit points for killing it. So that's 2 attacks. 3rd attack. Alright. 4th attack. Attack number 5. Attack number 6. 7. Lag. 8. 9. Action surge. 10. 11. 12. And I think that's it. We also have another attack with Great Weapon Master, but I can't reach anything. But I guess I can Misty Step, you know. So there you go. We just attacked 12 times. We killed 5 high HP things. And we even got some temporary hit points off of that. It fucking slaps, dude. It's really good. Alright. Alright, it's that time of the video where I got a TLDR, everything I just fucking said. So here we go. Alright. Let me know if you guys like this part of the video. You know what I'm saying? I could definitely take it out, but I saw it as a suggestion and I really liked it. You know, some people can't watch an hour-long video or 30-minute long video. I get that, so that's why I'm gonna make these TLDR segments. So here we go. So when you first start off at the game, you're gonna go 5 levels into Barbarian, and you're gonna be a Bare Heart Barbarian with Reckless Attack, Bare Heart, you know, all that good Barbarian stuff, Rage. Should be good to go. Then after level 5 as a Barbarian, you're going to switch into a level 5 Paladin, pretty much taking the same steps that I showed during the video, you know, Oath of Devotion, Divine Smites, get all the other smites as an option, pick the what's this called, Divine Favor as your as your concentration spell for most of the time. You're the off tank, you are the off healer, so you can choose other support stuff like Cure Wounds and Aid, bada bing bada boom, all that kind of stuff. Okay, but once you reach level 10, you're gonna respec out of everything, and you're gonna go level 5 Paladin, Oath of Devotion, all that kind of stuff, into a level 5 Warlock. You're gonna pick Pact of the Blade along with the Fiend Warlock to get extra temporary hit points every time you kill something. Alright? And the reason why we do that is because level 5 Paladin, extra attack, and level 5 Warlock, Deepen Pact attack, for some reason stacks. So now, as a level 10 melee person, we are getting 3 attacks per action. And for our final 2 levels, we're going to be going 2 levels into Fighter to get Action Surge. So now we have Action Surge, so that means 3 attacks in normal action, 6 attacks with Action Surge action, 9 attacks with Haste action, and 12 attacks if we drank an elixir of bloodlust, which you should definitely be drinking on builds like this. Okay, so that means 12 attacks, and that leaves our bonus action to either Misty Step with one of our items, to apply Divine Favor, which you should be doing before the fight, to use the Great Weapon Master attack, which you should probably get off of a crit, because out of those 12 attacks, you're probably going to crit at least once. And of course, for your spell slots, you want to only use your spell slots on Divine Smites. That's what this build is all about. I get it, there's a bunch of cool spells that you can use here, but in most cases, you're going to be rushing things down with your huge axe, and you want to be using your spell slots for Divine Smites. And the great thing about Warlock spell slots is they refresh off of a short rest. So don't be afraid to spam them every single fight, okay? Because a level 3 Divine Smite does a lot of freaking damage, alright? As far as the items go, the main weapon that I chose is the Hellbeard Halberd. And the reason why I chose it is because this axe comes with a +6 poison damage. Just straight up. You know, flat 6 poison damage, which is a little bit more than half of a Great Weapon Master plus 10. You know what I'm saying? So it's really, really good, and you can get this off of Hellsick once she shows you the goods. You can buy this axe. It's really fucking solid. Okay. And for the offhand weapon, I chose a Darkfire Shortbow. This is my go-to stat stick for range weapons because it gives resistance to fire damage and cold damage, and it comes with haste, which you're probably not going to be concentrating on, but it's there just in case you need it. For the helmet, I like Diadem of Arcane Synergy. Arcane Synergy gives your weapon attacks deal additional damage based on your spellcasting modifier, and because we're only using Charisma, because of Bind Pact Weapon, your Charisma should be pretty high, so it's pretty much another addition to our damage on top of everything else, okay? And of course, this applies to every single attack. If you have Arcane Synergy on, because we're attacking at least 10 times per turn, that's a lot of damage that we're adding with our build, alright? So there's that. And you can get this off of the Kresh in the Inquisitor's room after that whole, cutscene with Vlaakith and your Dream Visitor, okay? As far as the cloak, there really is no cloak better than Cloak of Protection, and you can get this off of one of the vendors at the Last Light Inn. For the medium armor, I just chose to go with one of the Act 1 medium armors, which you can wear pretty much throughout the whole game. It's super duper good, and you can get this off of the Adamantine Forge, off of doing the Lava Boss, which if you don't know how to do it, just use the big hammer. Take advantage of the hammer and the lava and his slow movement and his prime target. That's how you beat him. Super duper easy fight. And you can get this sweet scale melt, and I would also recommend using the splint mold too to get the heavy armor, which you should use on your support/healing character, okay? For the gloves, we use Helldust gloves. It's just another way to add damage to our attacks, and you can get this off of in the boudoir, one of the rooms in the House of Hope, off of Harlep, which is one of Raphael's right-hand men. And if you don't have these, you can use the flawed Helldust gloves instead, which you can get off of the Last Light Inn Damned Vendor after giving him one of the Infernal Irons, okay? As far as the boots, very solid boots. The Nier boots, you can get this off of either waiting till Nier dies or defeating Nier after breaking them out during the cave-in, which I would recommend doing, by the way, because it activates more quests in the future. And it comes with a Misty Step that refreshes off a short rest, so you can pretty much use this use this every time you battle. Okay, and as a melee build, having more Misty Steps without using spell slots is very, very important. Okay, as far as the jewelry goes, another Misty Step, just because I wanted as much mobility as possible as a melee character. It's hard to get around. We don't have as much luxury as range characters in this game, or any game for that matter. If you don't want to use Amulet and Misty Step, you can use Amulet of Branding instead, which is you deal double damage for a short amount of time, okay? And of course, you can get this Amulet of Misty Step at the Goblin Camp, in Priestess Gut's private room, behind Big Bertha. You can get this off one of the chests, I believe, or off of her body, one of those. And the Strange Conduit Ring, we're still adding damage on top of our attacks, and you can get this off of, in the Kresh Inquisitor room, in the same room that you can get this. This will be inside of a chest in the middle of the room. And for the last ring, the Caustic Band, another way to add damage, you can get this off of the My Colony Underdark vendor. I think their name is Dareth Bonecloak, I think. One of the vendors in the Underdark My Colony. And there you have it, y'all. Make sure they're hasted. Make sure action surge. Make sure you use Elixir of Bloodlust. Make sure you have as many actions as possible, because the more actions mean the more attacks and the more ways to add damage, like Divine Favor. And make sure you buff yourself with Divine Favor and Sacred Weapon. You know, pretty much every fight, because they're free. You know, this does use a level 1 spell slot, but adding radiant damage to every single one of your attacks is probably worth other than the level 1 smite anyway, okay? Oh, also I should probably mention, before you get this weapon, you can use the Unseen Menace, which is really, really, really good. Or any one of those Githyanki weapons. You could also use the Baldur and Giant Slayer. You could also use the Everburn Blade that you get from the literally the first scene in the game, the first boss in the game, just to have Shadowheart command drop the weapon. You can get it, and you can use that until a +1 Great Axe, and then use that until items like this and the halberd and whatever. Okay, you could also use the halberd. There's so many good two-handed melee weapons. You pick, you choose what is your favorite. There are so many good ones, and that's it. That's the build, man. This is one of my favorite builds for sure. It's kind of hard making melee work because they need like more things, because they needed to be more tanky. The damage will always be there for any build, but the melee builds for any game have to be more tanky, and they have to be more mobile, because ranged builds, they don't have to be tanky or mobile because they're ranged. You know, they're not in the thick of things. They can stand far back and do their damage. They can cast their spells, and they don't have that, and while at the same time not getting hit. So that's why for me it was kind of hard to find a good melee build, but I think I found one of them that, you know, can cover those weaknesses. All right, it's still not as mobile, okay, and it still doesn't do as much damage like a spellcaster, but it's decently tanky. It does a pretty good amount of damage, and it definitely does very high single target damage. So if there's those big bad bosses like Raphael, make them vulnerable with Perilous Stakes and go ham, and you're probably gonna one-shot him in one turn, to be honest, because this build is that crazy. Okay, and yeah, hey man, if you guys like the video, if you guys like the build, y'all already know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good algorithm stuff. Trust me, every single click, every single comment, every single share, every single like, all that stuff actually matters. Don't ask me, ask the goddamn YouTube peoples. They're really strict, and we can tell because we can see it in our analytics if you have ever done YouTube before, okay? Please, if you have an extra 2 seconds, click the stuff, okay? Pretty please, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's gonna be it for this build guide, guys. What I'm gonna try to do is, there's still some more builds I want to show, and there's still some more things that I want to share as far as knowledge goes. So I think what's going to happen is every Monday and Friday I'm going to release a build guide, and every Wednesday I'm going to release, like, I don't know, some kind of tutorial, or some kind of, you know, the best items in Act 1, 2, and 3, stuff like that. That's what I'm doing right now. You know, the best spells to use, you know, some kind of additional educational information that would help, you know, players play this game. If you didn't know, this game is 100% game of the year. It's not even close, okay? I don't know what game can come out that can rival this game, but if you have any idea, let me know, because I mean, if anyone has played this game from start to finish, and any of the games this year, to me it's not even close. This is game of the year, and that's why I chose to make some content on it, because not only do I love playing it, but I also like making these builds and sharing it with you guys on the random interwebs. And yeah, man. Anyway, I'm out of here. Y'all have a good one. I appreciate y'all watching. If y'all watch this far, again, if you got any time, please like, comment, subscribe. It really does help. You know what I'm saying? And I guess I'll see y'all this Wednesday for the best items in Act 3, because that will be the next video. All right, with that being said, y'all have a good one. I'm out of here.